We often believe that our careers are meant to be a steady linear progression, a climb up a ladder with each step leading logically to the next. We are told to focus on titles, promotions, and the external markers of success, but that's not what actually stays with us. The titles fade. The organizational charts are redrawn. What remains is not the position we held, but how we felt while we were holding it. What stays is the quiet, internal experience of our days. Did our work expand us or shrink us? On the outside, everything might look perfect, yet on the inside, a quiet sense of dissonance begins to grow. It's a subtle friction between the person you are and the person your job requires you to be. A vital piece of information from a deeper part of yourself that is asking for attention. It often begins in ways that are too small to notice, or at least too small to take seriously. The joy you once found in a simple morning coffee before work starts to feel less like a ritual and more like a necessity. The satisfaction of solving a complex problem is replaced by a fleeting sense of relief that it is over. They are the slow, quiet fading of small joys. The color drains from the daily experience of your work, leaving behind a monochrome landscape of obligation and routine. The team meetings feel like an interruption to your real work, even though you can't quite remember what that real work is supposed to feel like anymore. You find yourself going through the motions, performing the role of an engaged professional, while a part of you remains detached. This detachment is a protective mechanism. It is the mind's way of creating distance from an environment that no longer feeds it. The end of the workday becomes the single most rewarding moment of the day. The satisfaction is not in a job well done, but in the fact that the job is, for a few hours, done. The feeling is often described as the Sunday scaries, that familiar wave of anxiety that begins on Sunday afternoon. It is the inability to fully arrive in your own weekend. Your body is at home, on a walk, but your mind is still tethered to the office. Hobbies that once brought joy now feel like tasks. The desire to create feels distant. It's like the curious, playful part of you has gone into hibernation. You are present, but not fully inhabiting your life. Either way, a barrier is created. It doesn't just take 9 to 5. It colonizes your emotional and mental space. The weekend, meant for rest and reconnection, becomes a mere recovery period, a shallow breath before you submerge again, long before your conscious mind is ready to admit that something is wrong. Your body knows. It keeps the score. It's the feeling of being perpetually braced for an impact that never comes. This physical armoring is a response to a psychological state. You might notice that you are holding your breath during meetings while reading emails. Your breathing becomes shallow. You may wake up feeling as tired as when you went to bed, your body having spent the night processing the unresolved stress of the day. Listening to these signals requires a different kind of attention. It means treating these physical sensations not as annoyances to be ignored, but as important pieces of data about your inner state. When your physical self is in a constant state of defense, it is a clear and undeniable sign that the environment you are in is no longer perceived as safe or nourishing for your whole being. This is the moment most people stop thinking. Right here, the immediate instinctual response is to look for a quick solution. The mind races ahead, searching for an escape plan. This is quiet panic, disguised as productivity. But this is the moment where thoughtfulness is required, not speed. If this feels familiar, stay with me. Resist the urge to immediately fix things. Create a space for observation. Sit with the discomfort without judgment. What is the feeling in my body really telling me? This pause is strength, not weakness. It is self-respect. Allow this space. You give yourself clarity. Begin building an exit strategy from centered, grounded awareness. Building an exit strategy is often imagined as a dramatic engineering project, but a more helpful way to see it is through the metaphor of a quiet river changing its course. A small persistent current begins to wear away at one side of the riverbank. The erosion is gradual, molecule by molecule. This is what a thoughtful exit strategy feels like. It is about beginning to direct a small portion of your energy, your attention, your time in a new direction, creating the potential for a new one to form. The river's shift is not forced. It is a response to the landscape, the path of least resistance. Similarly, your own shift should not feel like a battle. It should feel like a natural movement toward what is more aligned, more nourishing. Over time, more and more water begins to flow into the new channel. The old riverbed does not dry up overnight. It continues to flow, but with less force. In the same way, you continue to go to your job. You perform your duties, but you are consciously and deliberately diverting more of your life's current into the new path you are creating. You are quietly, patiently, deliberately changing course, not through a single act of force, but through 1,000 small intentional movements that honor your own inner landscape. In the end, this quiet recognition of misalignment is not a problem to be solved, but a question to be lived. The journey begins not with an updated resume, but with the small internal shift of taking your own experience seriously. It is the decision to honor the quiet friction you feel, not as a sign of failure, but as a call to growth. You do not need to have the entire journey mapped out. You only need to be willing to take the next small, authentic step, and then the one after that, listening carefully all the way. The final question is not, what should I do next? But a much quieter one, a question to carry with you, to let settle as you sit with the quiet signs in your own life. What is the one small, nourishing experiment you could begin this week, simply for the sake of listening to what it has to teach you? If this stayed with you, there's another reflection on this channel that continues the conversation.